Uh-oh. Fuck, where'd the video go?
The JBU
There we go.
Show featuring Austin.
From the Miller Talk.
When we lose all the viewers we currently have after playing this video, I'm blaming you.
The American Sincerist.
And now your host,
Cam Allen.
Dr. Fauci, give us vaccines. Help all the people who have been quarantined. We'll wear our masks and we'll have to stay distant. We'll wash our hands and we'll be more resistant. Fauci, yes? Promise us, please. We'll have a cure that can fight off this disease. Restrictions will lift with some ease. Dr. Fauci, don't forget me.
And that is why it is extremely important to tell your fucking sons to quit being a bundle of sticks every once in a while. How's it going, everybody? My name is Chris, and this is the JBU Show. Joining me today, Austin from the Miller Talk podcast, and vice versa and all that stuff. Austin, thank you for making us watch that.
Yes, I think it was great to start off with that. Get everyone going. We got a lot to talk about. Got to start off on a light note.
A light note. I'm pretty sure.
Unfortunately, because of YouTube, we can't get too explicit just yet. Got to give us a little bit, but
yeah, I almost didn't catch myself there right at the start, but thankfully I thought ahead just a little bit.
Yeah,
we'll see how it goes here in the next few minutes, though. Got a few things to talk about today. You want to tell them why we're not doing what we normally do on Sundays?
Yeah, guys. So we've had a lot going on this weekend. So we decided to kind of push off the book review this Sunday. We're sorry, guys. I know you were expecting it, but someone didn't get their reading done. I won't name names.
I won't name names of the two people here.
It's like when you get in an elevator with another person and then you fart and you look at them and go, wasn't me.
Obviously it was you. I was looking dead in the eye.
We haven't taken Cuba yet.
Yeah, no, we haven't, and
gotta wait on this this Iran stuff to hopefully clear up, and I think that's when we'll go in.
Speaking of which, Mr. President, because I know you're listening, I'm really sick of you making me look like an asshole. All right? I said we're going to go into Cuba in the next 24, 48 hours, most likely. Now, to be fair, I did couch it in most likely. But if you could stop making me look like a dick in these predictions, I'd appreciate it. Invade a foreign country if I said it's going to happen. Fuck's sakes.
Mm-hmm. It worked for me. I said, let's take Cuba. Go get Cuba. Viva la revolution.
Viva la revolution. Can't say it any better. I tried though.
Mm-hmm. Gave it your best try.
What do you want to start off with? We're gonna start off with Iran.
Yeah, we can. I have some points.
Oh, do you? You have some points?
Mm-hmm. I got 5 points. Of the
of the supposed Iran deal?
Yeah.
Who do these points come from?
Grok.
Ah, okay. I also have a story here from Newsweek that claims to have points from the deal. Let's hear Grok's first.
Grok says that as of now, the framework is largely negotiated for a phase 1 memorandum of understanding. It is not finalized at this point, but should lead to some de-escalation, which includes reopening the Strait of Hormuz, and lifting the U.S. naval blockade.
Yeah.
Iran should give over or destroy their uranium stockpile.
Okay.
They will include sanction relief, frozen assets, and economic incentives.
All right.
And then just broader ceasefire and regional ceasefires and stuff. So end all hostilities in the area.
There's one thing that I didn't hear there that Donald Trump made very clear in his interview with Brett Baier and in his interview with Sean Hannity, which is that we will recover what is left of the enriched uranium as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Trump made it very clear that we were going to do that. So,
Oh yeah, and it said heightened inspections.
all right, those are pretty similar, but slightly different than the points that Newsweek laid out here, which is a 60-day ceasefire framework. The draft agreement established 60-day ceasefire that could be extended by mutual consent. During this period, direct military escalation would pause while negotiations continue. Reopening the Strait of Hormuz, Iran would reopen the Strait of Hormuz with no tolls or restrictions. Tehran would also remove naval mines reportedly deployed in the waterway to restore free commercial passage. Iran allowed to resume oil sales. In exchange, the U.S. would ease its blockade on Iranian ports and issue sanctions waivers, allowing Iran to freely export oil again. And nuclear negotiations would continue. Iran would commit to never pursuing nuclear weapons and would negotiate over suspending uranium enrichment and reducing its stockpile of heavily enriched uranium. U.S. officials say Tehran has already provided verbal commitments through mediators regarding possible concessions. Okay. First off, what do you believe out of these?
Man, it's hard to believe that we're going to get that uranium. As much as I have trust in Trump and things working out, I don't see us actually getting a hold of that.
If things continue the way they are, I'm not sure we would either, but I don't know. I don't see why we wouldn't. I mean, they're going to need help getting to it. They can't get to it themselves anyway. So they're going to need help getting to it. Might as well let us come take it, you know? Of course, it is kind of a pride thing for them, I guess.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure there will be a ceasefire, which just means they're going to plan a bigger attack.
I'll tell you what I think. And if this does not, if this does happen this way, then I will call it a failure. Straight up. Because there shouldn't be any fucking negotiation. There's nothing to negotiate. We should set out our terms, and we should set a deadline. And if they don't agree to the terms by that deadline, then fucking kill all the leadership. What are we on? Leadership 3 or leadership 4 now? Kill all of them and move on to the next guys. If they don't accept the terms by whatever date, kill all of them. And just keep going until somebody fucking does. Because they have no leg to stand on.
Mm-hmm.
None. Set the terms, set a date. If that date comes and goes without the terms being agreed to, every single one that we lay out, then bomb the fuck out of them until they come back to the table.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason we should be negotiating at all. And this is exactly what I didn't want to see. But at the same time, this is on a lot of MAGA shoulders, a lot of Republican shoulders, and a lot of American shoulders in general. Because you guys are all forcing Trump into this. But not just shutting the fuck up and accepting that the situation is what it is, whether you like it or not, that's fine. But you understand he can't just stop now. So even if you don't like that he did it, you still have to support it until it's over. And then we can bitch about it all we want till the fucking cows come home. But for right now, our troops are in harm's way. Are we gonna leave them there for no fucking reason? Or are we gonna finish the fucking job? I don't care about Trump. I care about America not fucking backing down for the 10,000th fucking time. I didn't realize I was quite as passionate about this as I am. I am. Because it feels like backing down for the 10,000th fucking time. I don't give two shits about Trump as far as this is concerned. I trust him to make the best deal possible out of the situation. But the American people have to stay on board too, and that's not happening right now. So we're not putting him in a very good situation, a very good leverage. He should be able to go, the Iranians should feel the full weight of the United States, not the full weight of Trump in the U.S. military without the backing of the American people.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason Iran is still hanging on is because our media is giving them the impression, partially because it's true, that we won't back Trump in this. But again, it's not about backing Trump. Are you going to back our military to finish the job or not? Or are we just going to take another L, waste a bunch of money for no reason, and end up with fucking nothing again?
Yeah. If we didn't have the left-wing media doing the work for the Iranian media, that'd be real nice.
Yeah. What was that about treason? I will say, so Trump did say, Trump tweeted out earlier today, about 6 hours ago, if I make a deal with Iran, and this is after the Newsweek article, we kind of are guessing that this is in response to the Newsweek article, or maybe if Newsweek was, reporting on somebody else's reporting or whatever, whoever it is that initially put out these alleged terms of the deal, we're assuming this is in response to that. It says, if I make a deal with Iran, it'll be a good and proper one, not like the one made by Obama, which gave Iran massive amounts of cash in a clear and open path to a nuclear weapon. Our deal is the exact opposite, but nobody has seen it or knows what it is. It isn't even fully negotiated yet, so don't listen to the losers who are critical about something they know nothing about. Unlike those before me who should have solved this problem many years ago, I don't make bad deals. President Donald J. Trump. And then he also shared a tweet from that's apparently a quote from Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian, whoever the fuck. We are ready to assure the world that we are not seeking nuclear weapons. We are not seeking instability in the region. Trump also went on in another associated tweet to talk about how bad the previous deal was and that they're making a good deal and all of that. So yeah, take that for what it's worth. Oh, and then he posted this photo too, which I got a good kick out of. Thank you for your attention to this man. That's the proper attitude, in my opinion. But anyway, so who knows, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
I mean,
What's
as long
actually
as the fucking killing and stuff kind of comes to a cease, that's nice. Just so we can quit hearing about this being bombed, that being bombed, and who was more right in their bombing. And yeah, if we can kind of keep that at a minimum for now and just,
I guess, but I'd
if
rather
it comes
be
to it,
about that than hearing about negotiating. I don't think there's anything for us to fucking negotiate. They have no leg to stand on. We set the rules. Period. The fact that we're even negotiating with them gives them, just that in and of itself, gives them a credibility they do not deserve.
mm-hmm.
But I also get that Trump, he needs to hurry up and get this done because he needs gas prices to come down before the midterms. Or
Mm-hmm. Before White Boy Summer. Hey man, I gotta get in that truck and drive around. All right. I need this to come down so I can do more driving around in the truck.
I gotta get a new button. I used to have a mute button, but it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah. So, hopefully, something can come and maybe we can be done with it for a while. So we can get on with some other things because, good Lord, I'm tired of this. Tired of talking about it and Israel this, Iran that. All I know is I ran out of beer and the struggle is real. So
Yeah, I'll concede to that. So with that, let's move on to the next
In the
story.
sun-drenched harbours of southern Europe, a curious spectacle unfolds. A flotilla of entitled rodents, puffed up with a profound sense of their own importance, have taken it upon themselves to blockade the pathway. They stand resolutely, refusing to yield even an inch, their small eyes gleaming with indignation. For some time, the vastly larger and more imposing Spanish security mammals attempt to defuse the situation with admirable patience. Yet the rodents remain immovable. And so, with the quiet authority that comes from upholding the established laws of these lands, the security mammals conclude that a firmer lesson is required. With great ease and measured precision, the mammals move in. In a display of disciplined authority, they employ their batons in swift control marks. The rodents, suddenly confronted by overwhelming physical superiority, are
Just beating the
unceremoniously
shit out of
swept
them.
aside, their protest dissolving amid
as they
street
should.
and the inevitable enforcement of order.
Like,
Even
holy
here,
shit,
in
these
this most
guys are so
civilized
much
of
worse than the
settings,
Israelis.
nature reminds us that strength and authority will ultimately prevail when persuasion alone proves insufficient.
Those are the flotilla, the latest flotilla idiots getting back from Israel and immediately being welcomed by the Spanish police for blocking the airport after being asked not to. So these idiots, just like with the previous flotilla, it's just a big show, right? It's a fucking boat, and they drive their boat into waters that they know is being blockaded by the Israeli military to provide aid. I guarantee they had no aid on board.
Mhm.
They were just trying to get arrested by the Israeli military so that they can take a bunch of fucking Snapchats and tell everyone how great they are. I really wish, I said this last time, I really wish Israel would just let them into Gaza. Let them
Mhm.
have exactly what they're asking for.
But they know they won't.
Yeah, but they so some of them tried to make some claims about their Israeli captivity, and Newsweek was, you know, they have no credibility, so they didn't mind posting blatant lies. And
Mhm.
look, I'm not here to defend Israel. I don't give a fuck about Israel,
Mhm.
okay? But that doesn't mean I'm gonna fucking buy this shit either. Listen to this. Activists detained by Israeli forces, and here's why I don't, just on the surface, here's why I already come from a spot of skepticism. Aside from the bullshit we're about to hear that's obvious bullshit, just on the side of skepticism, why would Israel do anything to these people? That's the whole idea of them doing this, is to try and provoke a response. Israel's not stupid. Even if you hate them, even if you think they are the most evil monsters on the planet, they're not stupid. They're not going to do anything to these people because they know the entire fucking world is just waiting for one of them to come back with a black eye so that they can come down on Israel for it. They're not going to do that. They're not fucking stupid. Regardless, activists detained by Israeli forces while trying to deliver aid to Gaza have said that they were victims of beatings, sexual assault, and torture. The group from the Global Sumud Flotilla, GSF, was intercepted in international waters west of Cyprus during the latest attempt by activists to break Israel's sea blockade of Gaza. The Israeli Foreign Ministry said the activists from countries including France, Spain, Italy, and Turkey were transferred to vessels and taken to Israel where they could meet their consular representatives. Australian activist Juliette Lamont told, and let me get a picture of her too, told Andolo Agency. Do you have any idea what the Andolo Agency is?
No, I've never heard of this.
All right, 1 second. While I can't get this stupid. There we go. Trying to get a picture. I want a picture of this activist to share so that we know who's making this claim. Okay, here she is. Oh, god damn it. Really? Why? Always got to be such a pain in the ass. Where did it go? Here she is. Okay. View file. There is Julie Lamont. So that's who's about to make this claim.
Oh, there we go.
Yes, a very attractive 90-year-old woman. Anywho, she says she told the Andolo agency that she was on a boat where 180 people were systematically bashed and beaten, and she said that there were 40 people with broken ribs. People were tasered in the face, and there were sexual assaults. We were tortured, she said. So you would think they would have some proof of this, right? You would think that there would be taser marks in people's faces, and, you know, tasers, the probes leave holes in your skin. On Thursday, Israel Prison Service said in a statement that detainees were held in accordance with the law and full regard for their basic human rights under the supervision of professional and trained prison staff. Medical care is provided according to professional medical judgment and in accordance with the Ministry of Health guidelines, according to the statement. Israel's prison service spokesperson Zivion Friedian dismissed claims of assault on activists as false and entirely without factual basis. Bianca Webb Pullman, who is a doctor that was on board one of the vessels, let's get a photo of her.
Yeah, so it says the Andolo agency is a news agency, state-run news agency headquartered in Turkey.
This doctor looks exactly like you think she's going to.
Uh-oh. Yep.
Right? Exactly. Okay, so I'm sorry, the agency is what? Say again?
State news agency in Turkey.
Ah, okay. Thank you. There we go. A little bigger for my viewers. All right. My viewers like it bigger.
Yeah. Size matters,
Yeah.
guys.
It does. Anyway, she wasn't willing to take the allegations nearly as far as the 90-year-old chick. She said, Bianca Webb Pullman, doctor who was on board the vessels, told The Guardian that they were handled roughly. We were dragged off the boat, forced into stress positions. Now that's a very different accusation than tasered in the fucking face and sexually assaulted.
Mm-hmm.
Forced into stress positions, which basically just means an uncomfortable position, and kept there for another hour. An hour. Not all fucking night.
How
An
dare
hour.
they? 1 whole hour of no TikTok.
Right. Well, the Israeli soldiers played the national anthem. Oh no! They made you listen to their national anthem for an hour? You fucking deserve it. Just for being a prick.
Yeah, I'll let this pass. The Jews they get one.
Yeah, like again, I don't have any interest in defending Israel, but come on. Just shut up.
The
I'm not
enemy
about
of
to
my
defend-
enemy is my friend.
But just the width of those two, they have two allegations, two people who are willing to put their name to allegations in this article, and the width of them from tasered in the fucking face and raped to they made us listen to the Israeli national anthem.
I've never heard the
And-
Israeli national anthem, and we
Neither
should
have I.
definitely not play it.
Yeah, I'm not about to.
We're gonna get on the wrong list.
Yeah, little quick too. Anyway, We don't need to read any more of this. I wanted to bring that one to.
So did you
I
hear
thought it
about them labeling Hassan Piker and Code Pink as domestic terrorists?
No. When did
Or it
that
may have been
happen?
potential domestic terrorists. I think it happened yesterday, or the day before, possibly.
Nice. By the way, shout out to. Damn it. art_by_kick for sharing the show again. We appreciate
Shout
it.
out, bro.
I wanted to make sure I get it right. I didn't forget. I just wanted to make sure I got it right. But anyway, sorry.
In the
Continue.
sun-drenched
Oh, my bad. I should probably
harbors of southern Europe.
that. There we go. Oh, and I tried to show this yesterday, and I didn't get a chance to, so I'm gonna throw it up on screen real quick for my viewers. But these are the from the rocket launch on Friday, Saturday, whatever fucking day. Today's Sunday, so it would have been Friday.
Yeah.
This is the Raptor 1 up at the top. This is the Raptor 3 at the bottom. I had a nice photo that showed the 1, 2, and 3 next to each other, and you could see the iterations. But it really is incredible what they've been able to do with those rocket engines and the complexity from that first photo to the immense simplicity of that second photo is truly astounding. Anyway, sorry, I tried to pull that photo up before, but I couldn't get it up for whatever reason.
Yeah. And that brings us to our sponsor, Blue Chew. I wish.
Oh man, that would have been fucking perfect. You heard him, Blue Chew. Get on it. We'll have the best.
That sounds like an advertisement right there. Blue Chew, get on it.
See, we think this stuff up without even trying.
I expect my check in the mail, Blue Chew.
No shit. Where are my royalties?
JBU
Easily made
podcast at USA.
JBU at USA.com.
JBU at USA.com. There we go.
There you go. That's the email that you can send a message to. And by the way, you can call into this show live if you go to Rumble, rumble.com/user/justbetweenus. Just click on the link. And then you can click on the Discord link under in the description of the show. And if you click on that Discord link, you will pop up right here next to it. Do it in audio or video. You don't have to show your face if you're fucking ugly or fat. But you can, ask us questions or bitch us out or whatever you want to do. It's fine with us. But we do reserve the right to hang up on you or silence you or make fun of you.
Yep.
So there's that.
We're always looking for more people that want to pal around or add to the show in any way. If you've got any ideas, or maybe you're an audio engineer or something and you can add some value. I don't know.
Edit our fucking video.
If you want to be young Jamie, look stuff up for us. Who knows?
Yeah, the pay is great too. I mean, it's like pennies an hour.
It's Blue Chew money. It's coming.
It's Blue Chew money. Think of which Dr. Seuss is that? Where he's talking about the Blue Chew, Chewy. I wonder if that's where they got the name.
No idea.
I'm gonna have to look it up now. Let's see. It's the one it's the rhyming one, the one that my son always made me read it because he thought it was funny.
Bluefish?
No, it's when I say rhyming one, I know they all rhyme, but it's like it's a real tongue twister one.
Only ones I remember is redfish, bluefish, and the places you'll go.
Let's see. It is. Just give me a list of his.
Right, that was a Dr. Seuss book, I guess.
Hop on Pop was one of my son's favorites, but it's not that one. Wacky Wednesday was hands down his favorite. I think that's most kids' favorite because they get to count shit. I like Mulberry Street personally, and the one with the cars, whatever that is. Where Fox and Socks? God damn, why was that so hard for me to remember?
Ah.
I've read it a billion times. That's probably Fox and Socks might be my favorite too. But let's see. So Blue Chew, Fox in Socks. Now I'm just gonna get a bunch of dick ads. Here it is. This is what I was
Single
thinking.
cougars in your area.
So this was a deep pull.
Within
Let's
5
see.
miles of you. She's ready.
The fact that every man knows exactly what the fuck you're talking about is a real problem in this country.
Oh, boy.
There we go. Good lord. I always forget. I have to open it in DuckDuckGo if I want to get the picture by itself. Gooey goo for chewy chewing. That's what Goo Goose is doing. Do you choose to chew goo too, sir? If, sir, you, sir, choose to choose, sir, with Goo Goose, sir, choose, sir, do, sir. It says something about blue goo on the other page, but that's what I was thinking.
We got there. All right. Back to the news. I think this is great that Hassan Piker gets to run away pissing his pants. So
I think so too. So are they going to arrest him or?
I don't know. But
Here in the United States?
believe so.
Okay. I didn't, if you'd said that, I missed that. So I wasn't sure if it was another country or not here. Bum, ba-da-bum. All right, next story. Or do you have the next story? Who's supposed to have the next story?
I don't know. I was
Nobody
looking
knows.
this up.
All right, well then I got this. Professional.
Hi,
Hi.
this is my first TikTok, so
Congratulations.
I'm kind of nervous to post this, but
You
I'm
should
just
be.
wondering if there's anyone else out there like me who is married to a MAGA.
A MAGA.
I've been thinking about leaving
I love
since
that
the
folded flag behind her.
and we ended up going to counseling, which honestly really doesn't help because I'm not going to change my views and he's not going to change his views. I don't really see any other way out of this except for divorce. I don't know what to do. It's painful. I still love him. And I honestly did think that once this crazy person took office and all of these things started happening to our country, which they are now, my husband would see it and he would say, damn, maybe not even admit he's wrong, but just, damn, no, I'm not on this side. But he appears to be doubling down and making excuses for what is going on.
No.
And I don't know, I live in reality and
Oh,
She lives in
I
reality.
can't split my world and live in
That's
reality.
it.
And
I
also
get
live
it.
in
I get it.
this
When you live in reality, you can't
fantasy
live there with somebody in
that
fantasy.
everything is fine.
She said it right. She took the words right out of
Is
my
anyone
mouth.
with me? Any advice?
I'll give you some advice.
Yeah.
Do your husband a fucking favor and leave.
mm-hmm.
Or crazy idea, you could listen to your husband and change your opinion. Wild thoughts.
Or you
I know.
could just be indifferent to it. Be like, yeah, honey. Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Thank God I'm not in love with a liberal. Not sure I could be in love with a liberal, but if I was, I did.
Sometimes they
Ugh.
got big boobs. And it's like,
Yeah.
man.
But I can generally separate the two.
Yeah.
Generally.
I like separating them sometimes, yeah.
But
I mean, they're better together, but I mean, sometimes.
in this fantasy that we live in,
Mm-hmm.
nice place because we can just fantasize whatever we want. Okay. Sorry, I was hoping you'd pick that up, but you didn't. So this isn't doing what it's supposed to for me. That's okay. What else do we have here? We should probably get to another story instead of another video. This is where Austin just sits there silently to make it feel as awkward as possible.
Yeah, I'm looking stuff up and stuff, you know. And I forgot about that until you mentioned that video.
Okay. Well, let's talk about yesterday. Another sort of, I mean, what would have been another attempt on the president's life at the White House. What have you heard about this?
Did you say that what?
We're doing a show over here.
Okay, all right. I'll pay attention.
The attempt on the president at the White House.
Oh yeah, I heard there was 30 shots fired.
30 shots. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I didn't hear that. That actually, you know what? I did hear that. I did hear 20 or 30. Because there was a gun battle. What's interesting to me is this guy was known to the Secret Service for wandering around the White House asking how to get in, like trying to find ways in. He would ask random people coming in and out of the White House all the time how to get in. So what I want to know, so he was apparently, you know, a drug addict or whatever, probably a meth addict that hangs out around there and is all twacked out about the White House. What I want to know is, where did he leave to get a gun, a nice gun, a backpack gun, which if you're not in the gun world, understand, to get a gun, I mean, it is easier now than it has been in the past just because guns have moved into different categories, and so there's more in the lower price end category. But usually speaking, the smaller the rifle, the more expensive it's going to be. I mean, that's a general rule of thumb when it comes to AR, AK style weapons. At least it used to be. So where did he just walk away to get a gun and come back with it? He's fucking crazy. And I know liberals don't believe this, but it is illegal to buy a gun if you have mental health issues. And no gun dealer is going to sell a guy that's talking to himself a firearm. Even most private sellers are going to be like, you know what? I'm not taking that risk. Because you are taking a risk when you privately transfer a firearm. And you can't privately transfer a firearm in DC anyway. That's the other thing, is this is fucking DC. Can you even buy a gun if you're not, you know, fucking Prince from Abu Dhabi?
Yeah, I don't know if they got changed or not. There was a full ban in DC.
It has changed because of the Supreme Court, but I don't know I don't live there, so I don't know exactly how it's changed.
Yeah, me either. But
Dan DA just shared a link with me and said join and thank me later, and I appreciate that, but I generally don't click on random links that strangers send me, so give me a little more information if you want me to click on it.
yeah, it's not good.
Rule of thumb, if he's a real person, he'll actually explain himself to me. If not, then I probably do myself a favor not clicking on it. Anyway, yeah, so I don't know. I mean, how do we feel about the fact that this has happened yet again? I mean, this is getting to a point of ridiculousness now. Borrow a quote from Deerdeck.
This is, you know, man, praying every day for this administration. And then for all the people, I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, I'm just praying for Trump. I'm praying for everyone in Congress too, because they could get sideswiped by this stuff, man. We saw it with the White House Correspondents' Dinner. There could have been a lot of, you know, innocent people caught in this in this type of stuff. So,
And I think that since the White House Correspondents' Dinner, we have seen some of the media, you know, and I'm not saying this absolves them of anything, but we have seen them, I think some of them tone it down a little bit because they realize, like, oh, we're fucking driving people crazy enough that they'll kill us to get to him. Which, by the way, if you don't know, that's how this works. The socialists that start the anarchy and the revolution always get killed first.
mm-hmm.
You should probably read the rest of the history book before you start fucking throwing Molotov cocktails. Regardless, I agree. And that's, you know, even just random people near the fucking White House. There was a bystander that was shot in this, and we don't know if he was shot by Secret Service or by the gunman himself. Doesn't really matter. It's the gunman's fault either way. I just, it's tough because I think that the media should be condemned for it, but I do not think the government can nor should do anything about it, period. They have a right to stir up all the fucking hate they want. Short of directly calling for an act of violence by name, it is their First Amendment right. But we the people, and what it really comes down to is their people, the Democrats specifically, should not allow them in good company because they do it. That's how it stops. It stops because they can't walk into a restaurant and sit down to eat. They'll be refused to be served by decent people. It stops because they'll be heckled on the street, not hurt. I'm not talking about hurting people, but they should not be, because they can't get a job, because nobody wants to hire somebody that is going around threatening people, right? They should not be allowed in polite society. That's how this should be dealt with, not with the government. At the same time, in the meantime, we have this problem, and I just, you know, I hope the appropriate authorities are doing something about it. It's not like there's much the rest of us can do. I mean, short of, I can tell you what I would do if I was president, and I would tell my supporters that I want every, you know, former military, every police officer, every well-trained civilian to show up to rallies armed, to, you know, to be there, to be a deterrent. That is how our country is supposed to work.
Mm-hmm.
The militia is supposed to deal with problems like this overall. Obviously, the Secret Service would still exist and all of that, but if you want a strong deterrence to this, it's 90% of the population being fucking armed and ready to deal with it. That's how you deter psychos. Same thing with the schools. Some California school just tried to pull their only armed police officer out of the school because one student complained that it made them feel unsafe. Hundreds of students came together and, you know, did a walkout or whatever, which I don't really support, but they did a walkout because they wanted him there, because they felt safer going to school knowing there was an armed police officer there, because why the fuck wouldn't they? Look, the fact is, school shootings are statistically extremely unlikely to happen to you if you are in school. And that is good. It means that you have a 99.99% chance of never living through one. Great. The fact is, they are happening more now than they ever have. Even though it's a marginal amount, it's still the highest it's ever been. And we absolutely should not be removing armed teachers. At some point, we have to decide that we are willing to defend kids, whatever it costs. And if that means stationing fucking 40 troops around every fucking public school, so be it. Who gives a shit what message that sends? The only message it sends is you're not gonna fucking hurt our kids.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand what goes on in these people's heads. We can't have armed cops at a school to protect kids from fucking psychos? That would just be wrong. They have to be completely fucking vulnerable all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Anyway, sorry, I know I'm on
1
another
month later, it
tangent. I'll
happened
just shut up
again.
now.
This time outside of the White House.
What is that?
Typical woman.
gunshots.
20 to 30 gunshots, some fired indiscriminately at Secret Service agents just after 6 p.m.
What
at a
is
White
that?
House checkpoint.
She knows what's up.
I'm going.
This morning, the gunman who officials say
No, go
pulled a
means go,
firearm
not
from a
turn
bag
around and get
began
whatever you
shooting at
forgot.
officers on a busy intersection near the White House is dead.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Shot by agents returning fire. The suspect, Nasir Best, taken to a local hospital where he later died. The 21-year-old was known to police and Secret Service with a history of mental health concerns, according to multiple senior law enforcement officials.
Okay, who's
A
the
second
judge that let
person
him
who
out?
authorities believe to be a bystander injured in the shooting. That person's condition is unclear. No Secret Service agents were injured. This all unfolding while President Trump was inside the White House working, according to an official. In a post on Truth Social, the president commending police and the Secret Service for their swift and professional action. The incident comes exactly 4 weeks after a gunman breached a Secret Service checkpoint at the White House Correspondents'
That
Dinner.
motherfucker had better be doing
When
some holster
gunshots sent
drills.
a tightly packed ballroom at a DC hotel into chaos and confusion. The spats of violence so close to the president, jarring reminders of 2 attempts on then-candidate Trump's life in 2024.
Take a look at what happened.
The first, a July 13th shooting that took the life of an attendee and injured the president and 2 others. And a second assassination attempt of Donald Trump at his Florida golf course just 2 months later.
Keep walking!
This morning, the nation's capital on high alert.
And Hallie, I'm told the bystander who was shot was also taken to George Washington University Hospital in the area. Their condition at this time is unknown. Hallie?
Julie Sirkin on the North Lawn. Glad that
But
you
what
and all
was
the
it?
crews out.
As we saw, documented mental health issues, probably a former felon. Where'd the gun come from? Again, DC, one of the hardest places in the country to get a gun. Documented felon, documented mental health problems. One of the hardest places to get a gun. Where'd the fucking gun come from? It just magically fell from the sky.
He just
then he
got
tried to-
up out of someone's gun safe and ended up in his hands because it was so bloodlust.
This shit, man.
I had no
Wrong one. Hey, I had a video of that lady. I do. She also, that reporter had also taken part in a local racing championship in DC. Little known fact, she is a race car driver, and she was out there with an all-female track. Really historic.
There. Not that I'm shocked. I'm not saying women cannot drive or they curb wheels all the time or anything like that. I'm definitely not saying that they're not as good at drivers as us. I'm not saying that we're better. I'm just saying I'm shocked.
Wow, wow.
Oh, they followed the kidney. They're following the pace truck. They followed the pace truck. 11. No way.
Every single one of them.
No. Stop it, dude. Stop it.
The timing on that was
No,
just
they
too
didn't.
perfect. For those who
Perfection.
don't understand, they were supposed to keep going when the pace truck turned off. They weren't supposed to follow. You know.
Yeah, that's when the race is like supposed to start, and they're like, time for a pit.
Can't tell women how to drive.
That guy's hilarious though. Seth MacFarlane on YouTube there. Pretty funny guy.
Oh yeah.
He does
Wait.
hilarious shit.
Seth MacFarlane?
Pretty sure.
The Family Guy Seth MacFarlane? No, that's
I thought that was Seth Green. I don't know.
I always get those two confused. Seth MacFarlane and Seth Green. No, I'm thinking of MacFarlane. Yeah, that's the creator of Family Guy. Seth Green is the redheaded dude, and he also is on. He does the voices on one of them, doesn't he? So that's Seth Green. There you go. There's Seth Green. Jesus Christ, he looks terrifying there. That's Seth MacFarlane. The one I'm thinking of, obviously, isn't the one you were
My bad. Cletus MacFarlane.
Cletus MacFarlane. That makes more sense for that video.
There we go. Shout out to Cletus MacFarlane. He makes pretty funny videos.
All right, shout out to Cletus MacFarlane then. And Seth MacFarlane too. You're a fucking leftist commie piece of shit, but you are funny. Anyway, oh shit. I should probably, you know, unblock our faces. There we go.
Yeah, that Hassan Piker thing, it turns out it's an investigation that was launched by the Treasury Department on Hassan Piker and Code Pink founder Medea Benjamin after their trip to Cuba.
Nice.
So that's the full story on that. You guys can't say I was a liar.
Liar.
Oh boy.
We heard earlier in the episode. Yeah, okay, there's nothing to follow that with. It's worth following that with. All right, so let's go to the Daily Beast article. I've been talking about since the beginning of this Iran conflict. We talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the show, how the media is complicit in aiding the enemy. I mean, that's what I would call this, aiding the enemy. Well, they have now leaked supposed Pentagon information during an incredibly critical time with negotiations with China, not to mention Iran, that is not good for the United States. Now, we're going to go through this information real quick, and we're going to talk about whether there's any validity to it. Because I believe that they are painting a very false picture. And so not only are they aiding the enemy by reporting on these things at this time, they're lying. So here we go. Damning new data from inside the Pentagon suggests that U.S. forces are currently expending more resources defending Israel from missile strikes than Israeli forces themselves. 3 officials with knowledge of the Defense Department assessment told the Washington Post on Thursday, so anonymous sources, that the lopsided effort underscores the extent to which Washington has shouldered the burden of countering Iranian ballistic missile strikes during Operation Epic Fury. U.S. forces, according to those assessments, have used up half their total inventory of certain high-altitude interceptor systems, while Israel has deployed its own at a slower rate. Okay. First of all, they're conflating some things here to make it sound like we are spending a bunch of money defending Israel that they are not spending to defend themselves. Now, of course, we bought the missiles on both sides, so it doesn't really fucking matter. I'm well on record for stating the fact that I do not believe we should be sending Israel money. That is their problem. They need to stand on their own. And Netanyahu has said as much himself. Now, whether or not he'll stick to that, I'm not saying he will. But he did at least say so. He did at least acknowledge Israel needs to stop taking American tax dollars and is going to stop. That's better than nothing. So far, at least. You know, obviously, that's only better than nothing for so long without action, but that's not exactly what's happening here. We're firing these missiles from Israel, yes, but we're also using them to protect our ships in the Gulf. We're using them to protect our bases in the region. We're not using them just to defend Israel. Yes, it has the benefit of defending Israel as well, but the missiles that are, you know, the missiles that we're sending out are not necessarily aimed at missiles that are aimed at Israel. We're just firing from Israel. So they're conflating that to make it look like we're defending Israel, Israel's not doing shit, and we're just spending all this money and depleting our resources on Israel's behalf, because they know that Israel's not among most favored nations right now on either the right or the left in the United States. They're basically just using the Jew thing to stir up the base and to stir up the, the Tucker Carlson right, or Nick Fuentes right, or whatever you want to fucking call it. Like I've said a million times, we shouldn't be sending any money to Israel, but I still have no problem partnering with Israel. They're a strong military. Why the fuck wouldn't we? Until you can prove that Israel has actually done something to harm the United States, and I'm not talking about, 100 years ago. I'm talking about now, that they still try to do stuff to harm the United States, because I understand the ship thing in the 70s or whatever, there's a mistake, and, of course, the people that hate the Jews say it was intentional, the Jews say it was a mistake. Our president didn't want to acknowledge it because he didn't want it to look bad either direction. There's no way for us to know. That was too long ago. All those people are fucking dead. I don't care. I care about now. Unless you can prove they're doing something to harm us now, there's no reason to stop working with them. Conspiracy theories don't mean shit without some evidence. Moving on. The numbers are striking. Kelly Greico, a senior fellow at DC think tank Stimson Center. Will you look up Stimson Center? Stimson. Told the Post, look up Stimson Center, go to the bottom of the page, and look at donors and see what's listed. Or just ask Grok, who funds what is the Stimson Center, who funds it. The United States absorbed most of the missile defense mission, while Israel conserved its own magazines, she went on, adding that the rate of use had left production unable to keep pace with demand. How much you want to bet these are a pro-Palestinian organization? Let's see. The situation has apparently sparked alarm among American allies in Asia, particularly South Korea and Japan, which depend on U.S. anti-missile defense systems to deter attacks from hostile states such as China and North Korea. That is a genuine concern. Justin Logan, who directs defense and foreign policy studies at the Cato Institute, a libertarian DC think tank, also argues the imbalance suggests a betrayal of Trump's oft-touted America First agenda. He noted that the Pentagon is thought to have assessed last year that it had as little as 25% of the key air defense systems that would be needed to meet demand of current U.S. defense plans. That was if we were to have more than two fronts. Or if we were to operate two fronts or more, then we were only at 25%. But still. Why this wasn't a screeching siren to Trump officials is a mystery, he told the Post. Trump's war for the past few weeks, keep in mind, that was being said by, who is this? Cato Institute. And we all know how Cato Institute has been with immigration. Trump's war has, for the past few weeks, been in an uneasy limbo. A shaky ceasefire is still in place, and his administration has effectively declared the active phase of the conflict over. But Trump himself has recently muddied the waters, warning in Truth Social posts earlier this week that the bombing would resume in a greater intensity if Tehran does not meet the terms for lasting peace. The Daily Beast has reached out to the White House and Department of Defense for comment. Pentagon spokesperson Sean Parnell poured cold water on the notion of lopsided defense effort in comments to the Post. Ballistic missile interceptors are just one tool in the vast network of systems and capabilities that comprise a layered and integrated air defense network, he added. Both Israel and the United States carried the defensive burden equitably during Operation Epic Fury, which saw both countries employ fighter aircraft, counter-UAS systems, and various other advanced air and missile defense capabilities with maximal effectiveness. And here's the deal. That's true. This whole missile thing, it is a concern, but it's overstated. You got anything on Stimson Group yet?
I went to their website. I scrolled down to funding and finances under the transparency tab. You click that, it just brings you back to the top of the page. So I asked Grok, Grok says the major foundations are Carnegie Corporation of New York, John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, Rockefeller Brothers Fund, Wellspring Philanthropic Fund, Open Society Foundation, Saga Foundations.
Oh, look at that. That's George Soros, Open Society. Yeah, it's all, those are all the typical leftist. The exact same ones that fund the Daily Beast. That's exactly who you'd expect to see on the Daily Beast donor list. That's all I was looking for. Was just proving that the people that were commenting. So that was the lady that said U.S. forces, according to those assessments, have used up almost half their total inventory of certain high-altitude interceptor systems, while Israel deployed at a slower rate. The numbers are striking, Kelly Greico, the senior fellow at the D.C. think tank Stimson Center, told the Post. So they're just taking quotes from other leftist activists to say Trump administration bad, basically. And that's all I was trying to highlight, was that this whole article is just, you could just write it off as bullshit because it only uses anonymous sources, and the people that are speaking on record that are analyzing the situation are analyzing it from an already biased perspective. And as they did note at the bottom from Sean Parnell, the Pentagon spokesperson, the high altitude interceptors, the THAADs, are just one component of many that are used to shoot down missiles and drones. The whole fucking theory that was at first put out by that fucking Chinese professor wank off. I don't know why I even call him. He's not a fucking professor, but he's a CCP agent that spies in Canada. Regardless, did you see the video of him? I'm sorry, I know this is way off topic now, but did you see the video of him right at the peak of his popularity a few months ago when this Iran thing started? He put out a video because he got the cops called on him in Canada for beating the shit out of his kid at a YMCA. And he didn't understand it. Anyway. Yeah, he's basically, the whole video, he's like, oh, I have one good child and I have one bastard child. And the bastard child needs a whipping every now and then. And I gave him a whipping, and then this YMCA just wouldn't let me leave. I didn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the idea that we're spending, $5 million to shoot down every $20,000 drone is bullshit. We typically use 20mm cannons and various other methods. And yes, we will use a $5 million missile if it makes it through the rest of the layers. If that's what it takes, that's what it takes, because it can do a lot more than $5 million worth of damage. And we don't put a price tag on human life. We will send up every $5 million missile to try and protect one human life if that's what has to happen. I'm glad we do that. I don't care. It costs what it costs. This is just, that's part of the cost of doing war. It's expensive, and it's wasteful. It's very wasteful. That's war. But it's also deeply overstated. The idea that we're running out of these missiles, we're never going to have any more. We produce thousands of these missiles a month. And yes, we are using them at a rate higher than what we currently make them at. But we're only using, if let's say, I'm pulling these numbers out of thin air because it's been a little while since I looked at it. But when I looked at it last time, which was at the peak of Operation Epic Fury, let's say we were making 1,000 missiles a month and we were firing 1,100. So at that rate, yes, we're going to run out eventually. But we're still going to have 1,000 missiles every month. We're just going to be 100 short. But we've also ramped up production. That production should be about ramped up by now. Now, it takes time, and some of them will take a lot longer and stuff. It's not like if we were at 1,000 then, we're at 10,000 now, but we might be up to at least what we're shooting now. And then the other thing is technology constantly changes. And so the fact that we are running out of missiles in some of these systems isn't the end of the world, because And what I think the Pentagon is leaning on, one of the reasons why we're not putting everything we have, because if we really were at 10% capacity of our missiles right now, it would be all hands on deck to make nothing but missiles in this fucking country, because all of our enemies would be coming at us right now if we actually only had, you know, a tiny bit of missiles left. What they're not telling you is we just started fielding lasers too. On top of the fucking, the AI-controlled chain guns that shoot down the drones, on top of the various aircraft that we have to shoot them down, on top of the various electronic warfare capabilities that we're also using, we're also fielding lasers, which cost like 2 pennies a shot to shoot down a fucking missile. Show you a picture here, and then I'll read you this story. And this is what the point is, this is what the Daily Beast is not telling you. They're telling you about this problem without telling you that the reason that problem is not being addressed is because it's already been addressed. It's already taken care of. This is the fifth, you're looking at a picture of the 5th laser system to be fielded. Not tested, fielded. This is actively shooting down missiles right now.
Hell yeah.
Well, it's come across any, but... But let me read this story to you. This from Cade Winslow. Pentagon now fielding laser and microwave weapons at 5 U.S. bases. Directed energy defenses built to fry attacking drones. And keep in mind that some of these weapons, laser and microwave, they're top secret. So they're not telling you about those ones that are being fielded. Because our enemies don't have these capabilities, and we don't want them to have these capabilities. Sometime in the last several months, a laser or microwave weapon turret arrived at Grand Forks Air Force Base in North Dakota. It was not there for demonstration. According to Senator John Ho... I kid you not, John Hoeven, whose office confirmed the selection, Grand Forks is now a live testing and assessment site for directed energy counter-drone technology. Part of a broader Pentagon push to install such weapons at 5 U.S. military installations. The goal? Give base defenders a way to destroy cheap, fast drone swarms without burning through million-dollar missiles to do it. The effort is being run by the new Pentagon organization. You mean started by Donald Trump? The Joint Interagency Task Force 401, or JIATF 401, which the Defense Department formally established to deliver affordable counter small unmanned aircraft systems capabilities. The word affordable is the operative term. A single surface-to-air interceptor missile can cost from $100,000 to $400,000, much different than the $5 million that was being reported a few months ago. The commercial drones it might be asked to shoot down often cost a few $100s a piece. Yeah, that's not true. The cheapest drones deployed in warfare right now are about $1,500. And that's like Russian bullshit technology. I think ours are like $25,000 to $5,000 for just a little tiny drone like this. And there are reasons it's actually that expensive. It's not just no reason at all. But beside the point. The commercial drone, it might be asked to shoot down, often costs a few $100s. Directed energy weapons which fire concentrated beams of light or electromagnetic energy promise to flip that math. Their per-shot cost is close to the price of a diesel generator fuel than the price of a missile. The Pentagon did not create JIATF 401 in a vacuum. Over the past 2 years, small drones have proven their lethality and their nuisance value in ways that directly threaten U.S. installations. In Ukraine, $500 first-person view quadcopters have destroyed armored vehicles worth millions. Houthi forces in Yemen have launched drone missile barrages that forced U.S. Navy destroyers to expend SM-2 and SM-6 interceptors at unsustainable rates in the Red Sea. Closer to home, unexplained drone swarms were spotted over Langley Air Force Base in Virginia during late 2023 and into 2024. And a wave of mysterious drone sightings over New Jersey in the late 2024 rattled the public and drew sharp questions from Congress. Yeah, until Trump got in office and he was like, hey, these are our fucking drones, calm down. Why the Biden administration couldn't do that, I don't know. The term directed energy covers 2 main categories relevant to the drone defense. High energy lasers, an intense beam of light, heating its structure until it burns through the wing, ignites a battery, or detonates the onboard payload. Or high-powered microwave systems, which emit a focused burst of electromagnetic magnetic energy that fries the drone's electronics, effectively killing the flight controller, GPS receiver, and communications link in a fraction of a second. Both types offer a key advantage over traditional interceptors. They use electrical power rather than finite supplies, giving defenders a theoretically unlimited magazine as long as the generator keeps running, which is why these are extremely useful both for defending bases and defending from ships, because like nuclear-powered submarines and nuclear-powered aircraft carriers, they could theoretically indefinitely fire in defense of themselves, which is huge, especially if we had to deal with China, for example. China has one of the largest missile collections in the world because that's how they intend to defeat our aircraft carriers if necessary, because they know they can't compete with them. Their goal is to overwhelm them with missiles. Anywho, I don't know that we need to go any more into how these work. You're welcome to look it up on your own if you want to do that. But the point is, don't buy into these scare tactics by the media. They've been doing this since the beginning of the war. And as incompetent as our military was under Biden, as concerned as I have been about it at times, because I've raised concern about this too, when you step back and start taking a look at the broader picture, all of a sudden things start to make sense, I guess is the point. Anything on that?
Sense. No, you got it, man.
All right. Oh, and every journalist that has been, trying to benefit our enemies and divide Americans on this war should be tried for treason.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Notice I said
Go
tried.
fuck yourself.
Did you get to watch the takeoff yet?
No.
No?
I saw that landing thing.
You saw the landing though? Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
cool.
spectacular.
Yeah.
It was really cool to watch something, from takeoff. You got to watch it live the whole time. Flat earthers, sorry guys. You got the full video now. Literally from takeoff into low Earth orbit, not high enough that you can see the whole globe, but definitely enough you can see some roundness to it. And it's clearly not a fisheye lens, you can tell based on the angle of the ship and stuff. And believe it or not, like we do have the ability to kind of know these things now,
Yeah, I guess so.
I will say there are some questions that I have. Like, I've never been... I don't believe in the flat earth theory, to be clear. I'm not a flat earther. But I do think that there are some genuine questions that were either deliberately not answered specifically, either because it has some sort of national security, purpose to not having specifics on or whatever. I don't know what the reason is. Or maybe just because nobody's bothered to, to really drill down on that area of science or whatever. But there definitely are some questions that exist. Regardless, the Earth isn't. It would be really easy to prove, especially today. I mean, you can go and build your own fucking rocket and shoot it up with a camera on it if you want to. Pretty sure the FFA might have something to say about it, but at the same time, you're still going to get the video back before the police get there, so don't do it. That was all in theory. I'm not telling you to do it because that would be wrong. I'm just saying, if you were that convinced... Anyway. You want to see my spirit animal for the week?
Let's go.
And would you please tell us your name and what community you're from?
Yes, my name is Andrew DeRogers. I'm born and raised on Cape Cod. I appreciate that many people here have different points of view, and that's fine. Many of them are very well spoken. Many of them are polite. I'm not going to be. I am that taxpayer that several of the people who sat up here and spoke are talking about. What is on the line is very simple. It is a declaration of your allegiance either to the American citizen, the legal tax-paying American citizen, or the chosen community of foreign nationals who have been trafficked into this country for purposes of census data, for purposes of seats, for purposes of power, and for purposes of taxes. I am sick to effing death of paying for such bullshit, and I'm sick to death of being lectured about compassion, about patience and understanding. I have lived here all my life, and I have been required for all 40 years of that life to obey the law and follow the rules. There will be no Social Security check for me when I can't work anymore. I have never once received any of the benefits that have been spoken of here. Nobody is beating down my door to help me fix up my house so that it doesn't collapse on me or lower the cost of the electricity that I have to pay. I don't get health insurance. I can't afford it. But I am punished by this state for not being able to afford it so that people who are in this country illegally can benefit from it and go see the doctor whenever they want. And that is a fact, and I am sick of it. I am not an ununderstanding individual. I am not an uncompassionate individual. But my generosity has been abused, and I am sick of it. I am sick of being treated as an indentured servant to foreign nationals in my country and in my community. And I don't give a damn whose feelings that hurts. So you can either approve this measure and show legal, law-abiding, tax-paying citizens that they do not matter to you, or you can reject it and show them that you are listening. Those are the only two options. And for the record, I traveled abroad to a foreign nation, and you would not believe the amount of documentation I was required to have on me at all times and show whenever anybody asked. And you can bet your ass if I broke their laws, they would have nailed my ass to the wall. And I was very well behaved over there, and I was very respectful to the people because I was a guest in their country. I wasn't due anything. Thank you.
Hell yeah, brother.
No applause, but I love the guy with the 2 thumbs up in the back.
Yeah, I love how all those geriatric fucks were like basically falling asleep. Then he started raising his voice, and they're like,
"Yeah, this guy right here. There you go." Anyway, yeah, I mean, it for what seems like, you know, just a genuine moment of frustration, and, you know, certainly not a pre-planned speech or anything. That was very well put. You know, he says at the beginning that he's not going to be elegant and polite, but he didn't say anything impolite. He didn't say anything inflammatory. He didn't say anything inappropriate. He said the truth. And he's not wrong. It's the same thing you and I both have been saying on this show for years. Well, not necessarily together for years, but why is it that we are expected to follow all the rules, but we are not allowed to ask the people that are coming here with their hand out for our help to follow the same?
Mm-hmm. Let's just take, for example, let's rewind our minds a little bit back to how we felt in 2021. Vaccine mandates coming out. We're hearing about them. Might be possible that Biden's going to institute some kind of vaccine mandate for the American citizen. Every American citizen must get one. And at the same time that we were trying to force Americans to get an untested unproven vaccine. We let in millions upon millions of foreigners through our southern border that didn't have any vaccines. I don't care what you think about vaccines. They had none of them. Not just the COVID vaccine.
To get them.
Mm-hmm. We gave them hotel rooms. We gave them credit cards. We gave them food.
Yeah, but they gave us something too. Measles.
Yeah. And a big pain in my ass.
I'm being funny, but they really did. There was huge spikes in measles cases in the years following. I wonder why.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Really kind of pisses you off a little bit.
A little bit.
But
you're not allowed to be pissed off. And that's the thing. It's not okay to be pissed off. You're an incompassionate, hateful person.
Mm-hmm.
You're a bigot if you're pissed off.
I'm a racist. Anyways.
Yeah. And that's the only way you can deal. That's the only way you can deal with it at this point. Okay. Then that's what I am.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. It doesn't matter. It's not okay. Period. And thankfully, it's coming to a stop. Which, by the way, I mentioned a couple Trump wins yesterday, or at least Republican wins altogether. Harvard, for example, they instituted a policy capping the amount of A grades that can be given per class. So meritocracy returning to Harvard. And whether you like it or not, that is because of Trump. If Trump didn't go after DEI so hard in the colleges, they would not be reversing these policies right now. They're doing it because they have to. That's still a win. I get it, it's Harvard. I don't have any love for Harvard or any of the other Ivy Leagues. But it is still a win that meritocracy is back. I still, I want these schools, which used to be pillars of American community, even if they are radically left, to be churning out the best and the brightest. But they can't do that without meritocracy. The one that I had for today, was this one. Feeding our future ringleader. This is one of the fraudsters out of, I think this is Minnesota. She got 41 years in prison. Now, this is a little bit of this one was a white lady, so they threw the book at her. So there is a little bit of that going on. But I want the book thrown at all of them. So I'm okay with that. It's just, they're trying to make a show out of this one so that they can handle the other ones more quietly, I fear. But at least for now, this is a win. She did get the book thrown at her. 41 years in prison for the over $242 million that she has stolen. Whistleblower Faye Bernstein wants Representative Ilhan Omar questioned over ties to a restaurant central to the scam and records linking her to its growth. Look, this is all money laundering. You think these Somalians that came from these no-name places in South Africa came here and just immediately knew how to scam the United States for millions of dollars in fraud in a way that you Americans even understood how to do? No. The people that set up the law taught them how to do it. They brought them here to do it so that they could get kickbacks. This money is going to politics. I've been highlighting every single major election season how there is always a billion-dollar industry that happens to go under right after Democrats spend all their money for the election. And it always is weird how tied these companies are to specific Democrats for whatever reason. In the case of 2024, is it 2024 or 2022? I think it was the case of 2022. It was Sam Bankman-Fried. Promised over $1 billion in that election to Democrats. And then magically we find out, where did he get that $1 billion from? Oh, he stole it from all of the middle-class Americans that invested in his company. So what does that mean? That means that the DNC and the Democrats, all the money they wasted on Kamala Harris and all the rest of them, was just stolen from millions of Americans, left and right, that invested in a company that they had no idea was not a real company. And the same thing is true. The same thing is plausible. Going back in every election in my lifetime, at least, because there is always a major company that has weird connections to the Democrat Party that magically goes bankrupt for numbers that are in line with what the Democrats spend that election season. Every single election, you have Enron, Exxon, Sam Bankman-Fried, you have Bernie Madoff in 2007, and so much more. I mean, there's so many, but sometimes it's multiple smaller companies, sometimes it's one major, like Sam Bankman's. But anyway, this fraud didn't come out of nowhere. And obviously, we'd like to see the people on top go to jail. That's probably not going to happen because they're too good at covering their trails. The goal needs to be just to get them out of office. Make them go away. Is that justice? No, but that's God's concern, not ours. You know, if we can prove them guilty in a court of law, great, do it. If we can't prove them guilty in a court of law, we can't just fucking turn into vigilantes. We can't. If we don't uphold the Constitution, we have no authority to arrest somebody else for not upholding the fucking Constitution. How do you feel about that? Because I had some conservatives the other day that I got into an argument with because they think that Trump should just throw these people in jail. Whatever it takes, it's time to scorch earth. And that if the founding fathers were alive today, that they would have already started a revolution. What do you think about that?
Well, that last point I don't think is true. Because if you actually know, most of our founding fathers really did not want war with Britain. They just wanted a peaceful They wanted, well, especially Benjamin Franklin at first, wanted to work something out where they could still be a part of Britain. Then they wanted a peaceful separation, and then war came to the home front.
Yeah, and we learned last Sunday about even after the Boston Massacre. That was the last time after the massacre, not before, that the founding fathers tried one last time for a peaceful resolution. Even after American blood was spilled, they still tried for a peaceful resolution. And it was when the king threw that out and refused to even read it that they were left with no choice. The fact is, matter of fact, I want to read what this guy said because my instinct is to want to go there. I get the instinct, but I've said this many times. Credibility matters. And if we don't stand on our principles and we just do exactly what they're doing because they're doing it, then why would anybody who's trying to decide who is the actual moral authority in this case listen to us? I just... Hold on. It's this one. So, what I originally said was, there's a reason we ideally uphold the Constitution regardless of what they do. It's also backfired tremendously on them, meaning the left, for now. In a time of chaos, credibility is the most valuable currency. Stooping to their level isn't an option. He said, you articulated the principled conservative position well. Principled conservatives sat passively for decades while radicals chipped away at our republic. The principled conservative label has become an embarrassment. Now, obviously, I don't believe in sitting passively by, and that's not what I was arguing for. And I don't believe that that's the principled conservative. I think that's, I think that's what people that wanted to call themselves principled conservatives did for the last several decades. But sitting passively by is not principled either. That doesn't align with the principles and the values that I uphold. But there's a difference between sitting passively and just allowing it to happen and still adhering to the Constitution and dealing with it. I said, I didn't say sit passively by. I said upholding the Constitution isn't an option. It wasn't an option for our founders either. Literally, even the day of the Boston Massacre, our founders attempted to find a peaceful resolution with Britain. He said, principled conservatives spent decades naively trying to find a peaceful resolution. The founders didn't have a constitution, they had to write one. I didn't accuse you of sitting passively, but if the proverbial shoe fits. He said the founders would recognize that a Marxist infiltration has necessitated a second revolution to restore the republic. Hayek said conservatism is only as good as what it conserves. In protecting the country from Trump's overreach, Massey only protects the embedded. So here's the deal. I agree with what he said about Massey. And I said this the other day, that while I agree with Massey in principle, I think that in the practice of his principle, he's failing to uphold those same principles by standing in the way. And it's simply a matter of the way Congress works rather than violating his principles. That, voting for something that he doesn't necessarily agree with is not violating his principles in this case, because it is the only path to getting to a more principled resolution peacefully. And that's exactly the point. I'm not saying that you can't color outside the lines. I'm not saying that we can't do things that would not typically be thought of as conservative, even. Like increasing spending in order to ultimately decrease it. That's, a mundane example, but an example that violates conservative principles, or violates conservative ideals, rather, not necessarily principles, but ideals. But that is a peaceful way to get to our principles. And so I obviously prefer that to revolution. And the fact is, revolution is not guaranteed. And violence, extreme violence especially, war, should always be a last resort. And the fact is, there are far too many options still on the table, I think, to do any of that. And either way, I still don't see how, even in a time of war, violating the Constitution is acceptable. Now, I guess you could say, maybe I should say the Bill of Rights, because I guess in a time of war, you would be violating the Constitution regardless, as far as, you're fighting against the United States of America in a sense. You're fighting for it, but technically you're fighting against the government. So, I guess you could say, I think we should uphold the Bill of Rights regardless, but still, there's ideals and there's principles. In any circumstance, war or otherwise, I'm not going to violate the principles.
Yeah, don't violate those principles, man.
What, do you think we should just go to war?
I mean, it'd be kind of fun, but, I crave war, and that's why I avoid it.
Yeah, I do think that is kind of part of the problem. I think that there is a bit of a romanticization, probably thanks to Hollywood a little bit, thanks to the weakening of men a little bit and stuff, of the idea of a revolution and stuff, because it gives a lot of opportunity for heroism and bravado and demonstration of courage and stuff that men don't have right now. And so I think that there's some romanticization of it, but no thoughtful person would consider war as a viable choice. It is a last resort that you never want to get to, not a viable option on the table, because there is no controlling the outcome. It is entirely up to God at that point. That's the way I see it anyway. And I think that's the way the founders saw it too. Based on everything that we have read, that's my understanding of how the founders saw it.
Mm-hmm.
At least the ones I care about.
Yeah. There's a reason why the First Amendment is the First Amendment, and then the Second Amendment is the Second Amendment. We should try to talk things out before we start shooting.
That's a good point.
But if talks cannot be, if peace cannot be achieved through talking, well, the entire military might of the American military will rain down on your country.
Well, and I would say, in the case of a revolution, what I would say is if, a peaceful resolution can't be found, then let the government fire the first shot, not the people.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Stop! Don't touch me there! This is my no-no square! Stop! Touch me there! This is my no-no square!
Gotta love middle-aged white women.
That was for you. But they actually teach that shit in elementary school.
Yeah, I remember learning it.
You learned that?
Yeah, not that dance. It was a different dance, but...
I went to several different public and private elementary schools because of my parents getting a divorce. And so I missed certain things just because of changing schools, so often and stuff during that time. But I definitely never, we talked about stranger danger and all that stuff, but the whole no square thing, that was new to me when I had a kid. And like, I don't know. I don't even want to go there. Just whatever. Now, I can't tell you anything about this next video. I can only tell you that I hope that the parents of these poor children are in jail.
Uh-oh.
Let's just start with what you see right now.
Oh boy. This is gonna be a ride.
You're welcome for this one.
I'm a feminist boy. Watch me be a man who has all the feels. I can laugh, cry, sing, and still keep it real. I don't have to be tough just to get respect. I know words, not fists, solve arguments. Watch me be a man who doesn't only wear blue, white, and pink, and purple. D-boy colors too. I feel bad for macho men who won't wear sparkles. Those old coats are so painful. Macho, punch, tough biker. That is so passe. That is not my future. Macho, grab. Oh, you're annoyed.
Why can't I hear it? What the hell?
I'm a feminist boy. Watch me be an Asian man who plays leading roles, cause it's not just white dudes who can be heroes. We've got Cole and Jackie Chan, we've got more than Disney. Watch out, Hollywood. Here's life starring me. Watch me be a baller like Jeremy Lin. I got game, no need to be as tall as him.
Yes, there is a need to be as tall as him.
Just to be a winner, don't need to be a girl to help cook dinner.
Oh.
Give it up for the feminist boy. He knows that we aren't playing coy.
All right.
Didn't quite get to it in time, damn it.
I feel sorry for all those kids that this is now their legacy.
Yeah. That's
that is child abuse.
I think so too. And I have a hard time thinking that it's anything other than. Man, I tried so hard to have that ready, but I couldn't get to it. I don't know why my soundboard on Discord isn't working, probably because of the changes you made. So thanks for that.
So, I got this post from Hunter Ash at Artemis Consort on X. I think he sums up the socialist argument fairly well.
What's he say?
The brain is only 2% of the human body weight, but consumes 20% of your energy. We must redistribute this energy to achieve a more equitable outcome. Time for the brain to pay its fair share.
Wow. That's clever.
You get it now? Do you get it now?
I agree. I think it's time for the brain to pay its fair share.
Yeah.
Tax the brain. That's my new bumper sticker. Tax the brain or eat the brain.
Don't eat the brain. You know what happened last time. Here we go. You got it up on screen.
What am I looking at?
Do you have it on screen?
Yeah. Yeah, get Eddie out of there. Wait. But
hell yeah.
Take Teddy Roosevelt out of that. That is one of the biggest mistakes that I think conservatives today make. A lot of conservatives look at Teddy Roosevelt as if he was a proud American president. I think that he was one of the biggest snakes in our history, and I think he was the original progressive. I think that he is one of the reasons that the progressive era ever came to be, and that started the fundamental transition in this country. Teddy Roosevelt was well known for his massive ego.
Oh.
Especially going into World War I from the Spanish-American War. I think it was the Spanish-American War. Anyway, he believed at the end of World War I that with Europe fallen, America would rise up and be number one, and we could create a new world order. Now, he didn't put it in exactly those terms. These ideas were later carried forward by later progressives. But he is where that started, and his massive ego is what created the FBI. It's what created Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson hated him because he was trying to dictate how to be a better progressive, basically, to Woodrow Wilson all the time. Woodrow Wilson complained all the time about how much he would hang around the White House. Anyway, sorry. I can't fucking... at the same time, I have a hard time not admiring him because he was a powerful man.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a great soldier, and he
did cool things.
He did some good things, but...
He wasn't like the progressives nowadays.
He also privatized more, or I'm sorry, publicized? I don't know. He gave more private land to the government than any other president in history. That would be the national parks. And yes, I do like the national parks. I'm fine with having national parks. But not exactly a conservative thing to do. All right, what do you got for us?
We're moving on to our segment now called Videos That Make You Say Hell Yeah.
Hell yeah.
This is a B-52 Stratofortress refueling drill. Or not refueling, launch drill, emergency launch drill. So sorry.
Is this part of the nuclear triad, guys?
I think so.
That's the first wave in Anywhere in the world. I don't.
Yeah.
I know we talked about it before.
B-52 Stratofortress crew can execute a rapid scramble launch from order to engines going within minutes.
Very nice. You think they could do that with a woman on the team?
No. Okay.
I would like to see what I would like to see is the stats. I do know that women make good fighter pilots. Now, whether or not they make good decisions in the air, I don't know. But they're like physically built to handle the G's better than men, apparently. So there may be some advantages there, but I simply don't believe in women in combat roles. I would say, because this is the United States and because we do have some uniqueness, I would say that if we're going to keep women in combat roles, obviously the standards have to be fixed, right? They have to be able to meet the same standard as the men or they can't be it, period. We cannot have two standards. We can definitely not keep lowering the damn standard. So that's number one. Number two is it should be all women and all men units. If we're going to have them in combat, enough with mixing, because they're just... War is for warriors, period. By definition, warriors are men, period. Men cannot instinctually behave the same in a group that is mixed sex versus a group that is all male. It is two different things. We are instinctively driven to protect women. On top of that, you have all the other usual problems of, sleeping together and this person being mad about this person and vice versa, love triangle bullshit and all of that. But even if you take all of that away, just women being around changes men's dynamic. And I don't think that they can be warriors in the same way with a woman present in the room. And certainly not being led by a woman.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a sexist thing. It's just a
reality.
Yeah, I mean, it's just...
Would you use a screwdriver to hammer a nail?
Well, yes,
you can, but that's not what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to screw things in, not hammer
Well, yeah,
them in.
Pry bar too, but... but I know
if you
I'm not
want to get the job done right, you grab a hammer.
Yes, you do.
All right.
Sorry, that was a bad example. All right, I got another video for you.
Let's go.
I had no idea that this happened, but recently discovered that the American Communist Party, yes, an actual political party, in the 1960s went to the United States House of Representatives and on the floor of Congress read into the official congressional record their then goals to destroy America. And I actually want to get these perfect for you because I want to read them verbatim. I think they're fascinating.
Sounds like the fucking start of a movie.
It is, and no one knows that this happened in our own country. Most of them are related to normalizing the USSR and acceptance of Soviet-style communism.
That was a very early and quick failure.
Well, of course. And they do that through a variety of ways, through taking over the media and taking over college campuses, fomenting student riots, all of those things to normalize
So what is this?
socialism. But these are the communist goals, the 45 goals from the Communist Party in 1963, read into the congressional record of the United States. When you start reading these, it actually feels like you are reading a screenplay for the current culture that we're living in. And that's scary to people because I think it's a wake-up call for those older than us that they failed in acting appropriately against this and safeguarding our culture. But listen to this. These are good. I mentioned that they took over college campuses and the press. Listen to these. Continue discrediting American culture by degrading all forms of artistic expression.
So I'm gonna finish, or let her finish here in a second, but I do want to correct something. So you might have seen that I just opened the very same, that's why the video disappeared for a second, These are the communist goals that were read into the congressional record. Right here. Right there. Down here. Okay. So this did happen. She is not wrong about that. And these did come from the American Communist Party. They are not the ones that read them into the record, however. It was a American, I believe it was a Republican representative that wanted it documented on the record, that read them into the record. So they didn't read these goals in like, hey, we're doing this to you, obviously. But the CIA, I believe, or the FBI had obtained a document from a raid on a communist group that was doing bad things, and so they wanted to read these into the congressional record. So I just wanted to correct that because she said they read it into the record. They did. But anyway, I'll let her finish with what some of those are.
One American communist cell was told to eliminate all good sculpture from parks and buildings and to substitute shapeless, awkward, and meaningless forms. Eliminate all laws governing obscenity by calling them censorship and a violation of free speech and free press. Break down cultural standards of morality by promoting pornography and obscenity in books, magazines, motion pictures, radio, TV. Present homosexuality, degeneracy, and promiscuity as normal, natural, healthy. Infiltrate the church to replace revealed religion with social religion and discredit the Bible, emphasizing the need for intellectual maturity that doesn't need a religious crutch. I mean, it is scary stuff. The culture we're living in today is a result of these goals. But specifically, their attack on the family is at the end. And I don't think that's a coincidence because they're looking at the family as the last line that they have to fight against in order for complete societal control. If you look through any successful society in human history, empires rise and fall with the strength of the family. It is the foundation for a moral, thriving society. But here was what the Communist Party wanted to do 60 years ago, and it begs the question whether they succeeded. Discredit the family as an institution. Encourage promiscuity and easy divorce. Emphasize the need to raise children away from the negative influences of their parents. Attribute prejudices, mental blocks, and the retarding of children to the suppressive influence of parents. That is where we arrived here because there were sinister people at play, not just a particular political party, the American Communist Party, but those they were impacting, the school system, Hollywood, American politics at large, the larger conversation surrounding media all over Western civilization that shaped the political landscape for the last 60 years to arrive here, where it is beneath you as a young woman to give birth, because that's so degrading and disgusting, and why would you want to put your body through that? It is beneath you as a young man or young woman, presented from both sides, to get married to someone, because marriage is a scam and a trap, and it's going to take all of your money and remove your independence from your life. And instead, we're just encouraged to operate in this concept of what I often call malignant narcissism, like the most extreme radical selfishness you ever could possibly embrace, because that's considered empowered or feminist somehow.
Well said. I would say it's a bit of narcissism, but it's hedonism more than it's narcissism. I mean, that sort of hedonism leads to narcissism, but the focus, I think, is on the hedonism, which is do whatever you feel like because you feel like it. Not because it's good, not because it's right, not because anything other than you feel like doing it right now. Since we have these up, let me check if there's any major ones that she missed here. So like she said, a lot of the beginning ones are about, you know, getting the US to accept the USSR as legitimate, to disarm the United States at the USSR's benefit as far as nuclear weapons, things like that, because they knew we were well ahead of them technologically. And we knew it too. Do away with loyalty oaths, capture one or both of the political parties in the United States, use technical decisions of the courts to weaken basic American institutions by claiming their activities violate civil rights, get control of the schools, use them as transmission belts for socialism and current communist propaganda, soften the curriculum, get control of teachers' associations, put the party line in textbooks, gain control of all student newspapers, use student riots to foment public protest against programs or organizations which are under communist attack, infiltrate the press, Get control of book review assignments, editorial writing, policy-making positions. Gain control of key positions in radio, TV, and motion pictures. Continue discrediting American culture by degrading all forms of artistic expression. An American communist cell was told to eliminate all good sculpture from parks and buildings, substitute shapeless, awkward, and meaningless forms. I showed you the communist contribution to my viewers a minute ago of the Martin Luther King turd that they unveiled in DC under Biden. Control art, critics and directors of art, museums. Our plan is to promote ugliness, repulsiveness, and meaningless art. Eliminate all laws governing obscenity, calling them censorship and a violation of free speech and free press. Break down cultural standards of morality by promoting pornography and obscenity in books, TVs, magazines, motion pictures, radio, and TV. Present homosexuality, degeneracy, and promiscuity as normal. Infiltrate churches and replace revealed religion. I don't think that's supposed to say revealed. Infiltrate churches and replace revealed religion with social religion. Discredit the Bible and emphasize the need for intellectual maturity, which does not need a religious crutch. Eliminate prayer or any phase of religious expression in the schools on the ground that it violates the principle of separation in church and state. Discredit the American Constitution by calling it inadequate, old-fashioned, out of step with modern needs, a hindrance to cooperation between nations on a worldwide basis. Discredit the American founding fathers, present them as selfish aristocrats who had no concern for the common man. Belittle all forms of American culture and discourage the teaching of American history on the ground that it was only a minor part of the big picture. Give more emphasis to Russian history since the communists took over. Now that would be Chinese history. Support any socialist movement to give centralized control over any part of the culture, education, social agencies, welfare programs, mental health clinics, etc. Like, I don't know, healthcare. Eliminate all laws or procedures which interfere with the operation of the communist apparatus. Eliminate the House Committee on Un-American Activities. Discredit and eventually dismantle the FBI. Infiltrate and gain control of more unions. Infiltrate and gain control of big business. Transfer some of the powers of arrest from police to social agencies. Treat all behavioral problems as psychiatric disorders, which no one but psychiatrists can understand or treat. Dominate the psychiatric profession and use mental health laws as a means of gaining coercive control over those who oppose communist goals. Discredit the family as an institution, encourage promiscuity and easy divorce, emphasize the need to raise children away from the negative influence of parents, attributed prejudices, mental blocks, and retarding of children to suppressive influence of parents, create the impression that violence and insurrection are legitimate aspects of American tradition, that students and special interest groups should rise up and use united force to solve economic, political, and social problems. Overthrow all colonial governments before native populations are ready for self-government. Internationalize the Panama Canal. Who did that again? Was that Carter?
Yep.
LBJ. I don't know. Carter. Repeal the Connolly Reservation so the United States cannot prevent the World Court from seizing jurisdiction over nations and individuals alike. That's terrifying. I'll have to look into that another time to find out a little bit more on that. Permit free trade between all nations, regardless of communist affiliation and regardless of whether or not items could be used for war. That's all of them. I was just going back to see if there was any I missed in the first ones that I skipped that were mostly just about favoring the USSR. Now, of course, this is less about the USSR, already fallen, and more about China, the last standing communist stronghold. I think that a lot of our problem today is that we're so far down this rabbit hole. We are so far down people manipulating American culture and history and just the social discourse in general that a lot of Republicans, a lot of conservatives, and a lot of just typical Americans, we don't understand what's up anymore. We don't remember. We don't, or never knew what our values and principles actually were. What is it that we're supposed to be conserving? What is it that we're supposed to be defending or upholding? What is it that is driving these problems? Well, everything I just listed is a good place to start. And this is why we talk about all the time. Go back to the founders' writings. Read their words from themselves and from the people that directly wrote down their words. Read their speeches, read their writings, read their letters to each other and all of that. Because that is the best way, not to be them, but to obtain the knowledge that they had when they created this country, so that you can figure out for yourself which way is up. Because I assume you struggle with it. I struggle with it all the time. You know, whether something is right or wrong, whether or not, just talking about a few minutes ago, the disagreement I had with another guy who believes that we should just take all the reins off and do whatever they're doing, because if we don't, they will. And that's true. If we don't, they will. But if we do, then we have no more credibility than they do.
Mm-hmm.
And we won't end up in any better place.
Yep. You have to be careful when fighting monsters that you don't become a monster.
Good quote. Who said it?
I don't remember.
Oh, come on. That
I've
one should be
heard
easy.
someone else say it.
It's Nietzsche, isn't it?
Probably. But yeah, man. You don't want to stoop down to the level just because you know that it needs to be done. We all know it needs to be done. We'd all want to take our local liberal leftist nut job, grab them by the scruff of their neck and the seat of their pants and throw them straight into Mexico. But we can't do that. We can't.
Like it's a fucking cartoon, just slingshot them.
Put them on a trebuchet and send them.
It was Nietzsche, by the way.
All right.
Okay. Let's go with one more video that's been making the rounds. And we can
I'm
get out
getting
of here.
close to, tapping out, but I got a little wind in me.
All right, let's get the last one then. Oop, that one. There we go.
Stand it when I see kids that are making 70 grand a year spending $28 for lunch. I mean, that's just stupid. It's just, think about that in the context of that being put into an index.
First it was the avocado toast, and now billionaires are trying to argue that us eating lunch at all every single day is the reason we're not like them. Oh my gosh, he's bald! He's bald and he's bullying people who have hair! Let's break that down, shall we, okay? You want to talk about out of touch? For starters, you think the average Gen Z is making $70,000 a year? Also, he thinks that's super low. The average Gen Z makes between like 30 to 60K a year. What, and on what planet?
Okay. First of all, that's not true. The average American household brings in about $85K a year. That's not Gen Z. Gen Z is going to be less, obviously, because they're younger. But notice she's using self-dot as a reference. It's about 60K for Gen Z.
There, you're done. Pack up that podcast, Mike. Get lost just like your hairline. We don't want to see it. But lock in here.
You got him.
Let's do the eating out for lunch every
lock in
day
here,
and packing
Austin.
a bag from home. Although his solution, in fairness, was we should just go.
Oh, I cannot wait to see. She's gonna tell us how to pack a lunch. Ready? You think this bitch has ever made a sandwich?
Nope.
Okay, just
hungry. Now I'm
just
just
curious
gonna
on
use
first
a
impression.
nationally known chain, Subway, as the example because you can get a
Oh, we're gonna use the most expensive sandwich that we can find as the example. Imagine that. I don't know if you've been to Subway recently, but one fucking footlong these days, $5 footlongs don't exist anymore. It's gonna cost you $25 minimum for a fucking sandwich.
long for $8, and if you split it into 2 sandwiches and don't mind going a little hungry, that is 2 meals for $4. So let's build our own Subway sandwich from home. First, we start out with the bread, around $5.
Okay, well, she did kind of skip
We add in some
most
ham.
of the
Now,
stuff,
mind
so
you, this
fine,
is going to
but...
make multiple sandwiches. We throw in the grossest and cheapest cheese
Yeah, you
slices
can
we
see
can
there,
find.
it's
This has 10
30
slices.
cents an
We'll say
ounce.
like 2 slices per piece of bread, 5 sandwiches. That seems fair for all of this. A couple of onions, right? A couple of tomato slices. Again, those don't keep very long, so you do have to go through them quick. Cheapest lettuce option I could find, luckily, was already a bag of shredded lettuce. And they let you put on whatever else you want free of charge, so we will just charge 1 jar of pickles and pretend that covers all of the rest. And I'll add in the mayo. That will last you a while, but I'm also a member at the local grocery store here, so it has knocked off a couple bucks already at the end of this.
This is
Before
really
I
the
show
best
you
you
the
could do
difference,
on
the grand
this?
total, remember, one $4 before tax Subway sandwich also saves you the gas and the trips and the time of going to the store, getting all this stuff, and having to
you
make
don't
it.
use gas to get to the Subway store.
Fact that once you divide all this by 5, it comes out to almost $6 for a sandwich you made at home.
That sounds
versus
like a
the
lot less
$4
than
for
28,
half of a
bitch.
foot long. And most people like to include other things with their lunch, but if you're going by Kevin O'Leary's logic, I guess you could eat nothing at all, and with that $6 that you've saved every single day. You want to know how many?
That's not $6 that you saved every single day. That's $22 that you saved every single day. Let's do the quick math on that. $22 times 5 days a week times 52 weeks a year. That's $5,700 a year. That's $5,700 a year. That's not nothing. That is a significant chunk of your 70 grand a year. What would that be? 1/11th? 1/12th? Something like that? All right, my math isn't that good. Anyway.
Days it would take you to save up to become as wealthy as he is? 66
Yeah, you
million,
don't save to get that wealthy.
666 with 6 repeating. Boy, what an ironic number we stumbled across. I think that joke just wrote itself.
Whoa. You proved
What a
nothing.
fuck.
Absolutely. You just said a bunch of stuff into a microphone for 2 minutes or something.
Well, she did prove something. She proved she's full of shit because she compared all of this to prove that making a sandwich is far fucking cheaper than $28 a day, and then said it'll only save you $6.
Mm-hmm. Just pack your fucking lunch. It's not that hard.
And the thing is, like, it's not even the getting the fast food. It's not spending $20 at McDonald's every day that is the problem, right? Because I get it. There is a certain amount of price that is worth the convenience. The real problem is not just doing that, but then spending an extra $25 on top of that to have it delivered 2 fucking blocks to you because you can't get your ass in your car and drive down there. Then it's getting $20 worth of coffee a day on top of that, and maybe another $15 in nicotine on top of that. Now look, I smoke right here on the show. I don't hide it. That's fine. But when you start adding all these things up, you start to realize, well, first of all, my life ain't that fucking hard. My food's delivered to me 3 times a fucking day on a working person's salary. Do you know what a working person's salary bought you 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 25 years ago? You know how much it would have cost in the 90s to have somebody deliver McDonald's to you?
Oh.
This drives me nuts more than anything else.
It drives
First of all,
me nuts.
The billionaires are not blaming you for anything other than you living beyond your means. It's not Kevin O'Leary's fault that you only make $70,000, which, by the way, is a perfectly livable salary in most U.S. states. Now, if you live in a blue state like I do, you're pushing the limit. But either way, you have to live within your means. Like I said, I smoke. I shouldn't waste that much money on cigarettes. I buy the cheapest ones that I reasonably can deal with, and don't just buy whichever ones I want because I can't afford to, right? But I still shouldn't spend the money. But at the same time, this iPhone is like 7 years old. My laptop is about the same. I don't go out and buy a new one every single year, even though I could technically afford to. Because that would be living beyond my means. And if you are living paycheck to paycheck, you are living beyond your means. If you are spending your money when it gets into your bank account, when your paycheck hits your bank account, if you're breaking that up and spending that, you're doing something wrong. When your paycheck hits your bank account, it should go to all your payments. And the actual money that you're spending on a day-to-day basis should be old money, not currently coming in money, if that makes sense. If you're doing things in a smart way. And, you know, she said you'd have to save for 66,000 days or whatever it is to get to $400 million, saving $6 a day, right? She was using bullshit numbers, but...
Yeah, not investing in the stock market or anything.
Yeah, that's the thing is you don't save to get to be a multimillionaire. And of course, as we know, you know, there's a difference between your net worth and the actual amount of money you have. But regardless, Kevin O'Leary does actually probably have pretty close to 400 million because he sold his product. He had made a product, sold it for like $1.1 billion or something. So he actually did have cash. But now you can see that money has continued to deplete. He sold it for over $1 billion. So wherever he was at, he's lower because he's spending that money. People with really high net worths like Elon Musk, they don't actually have that cash. That money is all tied up in making rockets and paying all the salaries at SpaceX and Tesla and all the other places. That money is making money for other people. And himself, obviously. Maybe we should do a Dave Ramsey episode. And go through, you know, for people that are starting out, that are working for minimum wage or whatever, how you can easily make it in this country doing so. The only times I have ever had problems with money, no matter how much I was making, it didn't matter how much I was making. It was because I was spending too much, not because I wasn't making enough.
Pretty simple stuff. Honestly, but...
All right, where can they find you, Austin?
MillerTalk.substack.com. MillerTalk_pod on X. Streaming erratically to X, Rumble, Twitch, and YouTube under Miller Talk. Yep.
Erratically.
Pretty consistent with the Sundays, but...
We stream erratically.
Yep.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself. All right.
And everyone, don't forget to find Chris at...
JBU_show on X, rumble.com/user/justbetweenus, and you can send me an email directly at jbu@usa.com.
And if you want to be a part of the show, the link's in the Rumble description of Chris's show. /user/JBU Show.
If you've been thinking about calling in on one of these shows, but haven't yet, get your mental preparedness up and do so tomorrow, because I believe we're going to be doing a show tomorrow. Not 100% sure, but we should be here. That's the plan anyway. If not, then we'll see you next weekend and probably some random time through the week. But
yeah, especially if this Iran deal does close, we might go live for that. So
yep. All right. I think that's it. Pretty sure that's it. So now we gotta do this one. There we go. All right. With that, my name is Chris.
And I'm Austin.
And this has been the JBU Show Miller Talk podcast program.